Okay, so we're just going to show you how to do a pivot table in Google Sheets so you can organize your data. I've already shown you this, but just to make sure you have this kind of information. Um, and anyways, we're going to look at our big, huge data set here that we collected from people in Uxbridge. And we're going to take make a pivot table for just what ward you live on. Just so we can kind of count and get all this information for it. So we're just going to click on any old square in here. Okay, it doesn't matter which one. So we'll just click on that one there. We're going to go into data. Okay, then you're going to scroll down to pivot table. All right. And then you can either put it inside of an existing sheet, so one that already exists, and then just pops up as a little pivot table, or you can do a whole new sheet. So I'm going to create a whole new sheet here just because we'll have it all right there. So now it's got my rows and my columns and my values. Okay. So now we're just going to organize it so it's a nice little friendly table that, a grade 7 or 8 can kind of understand a little bit better than a giant 227 answers in a row. Okay. So it does give you some suggested questions over here. Okay. But we're going to add our own in. So in here, we can use the add button here. Okay, and we're just going to focus in on the ward one. So that's what we want to focus in on here. Okay, so we're going to say, what ward do we live in? All right, and then we are going to just give some, get this out of the way, get some values here. So what ward do you live in? All right, and this just gives us an actual count of the wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's just a nice little organization of it all. All should add up to 228 because that's how many people took the survey and they had to answer that one. Okay, and so now it's a nice little table that's been organized and counted. If yours doesn't pop up with a count like this, all you need to do is to go down and make sure you change your values of what you're doing. If you're summarizing it, a count or product or a median, all these different things. So the count A is the way to just get a general count. Okay. There are other things you can have it do as well, but this is a good little way to do it. So that's just the basics of a pivot table right there. The nice thing about this now is that you can take this and you can turn this into a pie chart very easily by highlighting the data, going over to your create a chart or insert, or over here there's an insert button as well for a chart. So you can do that, and now you'll be able to just get a nice little count of the whole chart that you did. The other nice thing about this is that it actually gives you all of the parts of it all. So you see what I did there is I included the grand total, so it messed up the whole chart. So just be careful that you don't do that. I'm going to delete this very quickly. So what I did there is I highlighted the whole grand total. You want to just make sure you're doing the parts that you want part of the pie chart. So I'm just going to go down to the ward 5, and I'm not going to include the grand total. And I'll just redo that again very quickly. Okay. So always check to make sure your data makes sense when you're building these. And it'll help you right there. Okay, so now I can go in. I've got my pie chart, and I can go in and I can actually change my colors. So maybe it makes it a little nicer. I can go with a whole yellow scheme and slowly build my way towards other colors. And that kind of makes sense. Okay, so do it however you want to. Your call. Remember, you want to change your title to make something that actually makes sense. Count A doesn't make any sense. We don't care about that stuff, especially if you're putting it in an infographic. We just want to know what ward do you live in, etc., or the wards that filled out the survey, etc. Okay. All right. So that's that right there.